What's up, everybody? In this video, we're going to be working with a Chevy Silverado 2018 that had multiple problems. All kinds of stuff going on here. I really fixed one big problem, and then we had to go after another little problem, which was causing a check engine light. Now, guys, check this out. This is a diagram here of this vehicle. Actually, this is the code we were getting, is P257D. It's amazing these cars these days can have a check engine light on for a hood switch, right? But this hood switch is very interesting to me because I didn't understand how it worked, and if I don't understand how it works, I have more of a tough time fixing it, fixing the issue that's going on there. But it's really interesting. Basically, they say that the engine control module provides 5 volts to the hood ajar signal circuit, and then the hood ajar switch pulls that down. They give us a nice description in the description and operation. However, I want to show you something. If you take a look at the schematic for this was a 1500 we're working on. This is all data service information I'm using here, guys. Take a look here. This is our hood ajar switch, and you can see here that the body control module also provides some sort of what we'd assume to be a power going in, and then we have this ground down here, G102. So the body control module also gets a hood switch input signal. And basically, this is a rationality code that we have setting, and I'm thinking it's because the body control module sees one thing and the engine control module sees something else. As you see, this circuit right here goes up to the engine control module. This is the 5 volt reference voltage or signal voltage. It's a bias going high that the hood switch pulls low. So go ahead and follow along in this example, and this is kind of rough and unedited. You're going to see what I do as I do it. What's up, everybody? Brian Mann here, Hands-On Auto Training. It is Wednesday, April 27th, right? 27th. Yep. Happy birthday, buddy. I didn't know it was your birthday. All right. We got ourselves a 2018 Chevy Silverado. It's got all kinds of problems. Check this out. Taking a look around, our passenger window does not go up and down. Actually, let me get this back on. Let's try it again. We got a bunch of problems here. Our passenger window is inoperative, so the passenger window does not work. Let's see, lock, unlock. I don't think that's working either. We have no blower operation. The blower's not working, the radio's not on, and I think we got a couple messages. I'm going to start out with a pre-scan because that's what I need to do, just to see what's up, and we'll see what happens. We're launching TechLine Connect. I'm going to go ahead and get the pre-scan going on this vehicle. I want to do a complete vehicle DTC scan to see what's up. So once this pre-scan gets started, I'm going to go ahead and start doing my visual inspection. I already poked around a little bit underneath here. I don't see anything aftermarket. I'm kind of very curious to what's going on here. I'm thinking we're going to find a major power or ground type situation, some sort of bad connection. I'll go ahead and get this pre-scan going. And as you see here, I do not have my battery maintainer on the vehicle yet. I should go ahead and get that going. I'm going to turn off make sure these headlights are in the off position. And I will start the pre-scan. I'm trying to find some room. So we'll go to Vehicle Diagnostics and Vehicle DTC information. And we're going to let this go ahead and do its thing. And let's take a look at what we might find here. Fine Silverado. This thing's nice, pretty red. So I'm always taking a look around, taking a look for anything obvious. I don't want to disturb too much, but you know, maybe pop a cover off here, take a look what's going on. I don't even know how to work this cover. Cover's smarter than I am. Let's see here. Just want to see what this looks like, guys. Make sure there's nothing like major, like a bad connection. This fuse block, really interesting stuff. I don't want to mess around too much and disturb whatever's going on. So we're kind of just looking around to see if anything looks out of place. And with all these components not working properly, I'll probably go ahead and start horsing around if I need to after the pre-scan. And I should have hung out longer here because it's asking more questions. We're going to hit this button here. And this is a pretty bare bones work truck type of vehicle. Not sure See some funny lines on my screen there. I think that's because of my screen recording resolution or something. So we have one code in the engine control module. Let's see, we got something in the brake control module, power steering control module. Let's go ahead and hit the details button after this is done scanning, and we'll see what this is about. So let's see, we have no communication with the restraints module, no identifier from restraints module. Wow, lots of stuff going on. This does have a carpeted floor on it. Feels a little, might be a little damp. It's pretty clean. Pretty hard to tell here. Engine hood switch performance. I'm not so worried about that. And that was one of the original codes. But we have a lot of codes with the radio's not communicating. How about that? So I'm going to hit the create report button up here. And we just want to print this to PDF real quick. All right, so we've got our pre-scan complete. And guys, when I have a lot of issues, I'll try and chase after something that's pretty big. Like we got a restraints module that's not communicating. It looks like, let's take a look here. Got a lot of codes going on. So our biggest thing here is this restraints module's not communicating, and I believe our radio's not communicating either. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the at our module diagnostics, and we're going to check our radio. And I think the easiest thing would be to do is to figure out which network this radio is on, and also we can also check the powers and grounds to this radio. You might find it's something obvious. And you see here our radio is not communicating. We have no communication with our radio, so that's an issue. Alright guys, GM seems to be changing up the way their SI is again, which is kind of frustrating, but I did go to the RPO code list and I'm looking for the IO. We got IO or I0B is our type of radio, the radio infotainment here. That is the code that I'm using in AllData over here to look up a diagram on this radio. And if you can see this picture, we do have just, what do we got here? We have one power coming in, battery positive, from a fuse in the instrument panel right fuse block. So that should be hot all the time. And I may have to go look at where that power comes from, but I'm probably just going to check power to this fuse real quick and see what we have. And I'm going to give you my forewarning in advance. This panel for the right fuse block, it is on there something fierce. I guarantee you these things are going to be cracking in half in the future. This car's only a few years old, and it's in there pretty stiff. The clips are way too tight. I mean, I had to pry that thing off with screwdrivers and stuff, trying to make sure I don't damage anything here to make any blemishes. So I got to find out our fuse here, which one we're looking for. I'm pretty confident that if it's a power problem, we're not going to have power on that fuse, and that fuse is going to be related to a bunch of other stuff. So we've got our voltmeter with one end hooked at the ground all the way up the battery, and I'm going to go ahead and check my voltage. Uh-oh, 3 volts. And guys, my key is in the run position. This is supposed to be hot all the time, and I have 3 volts right here. Might as well just buzz through a few other fuses and see what we have. 3 volts, I'm going to a bunch of different fuses in this fuse block here. You can see everything's at 2.5, 3 volts. That's no good. So we got to go ahead and figure out what's going on. Right here at this fuse, I don't know if that was fuse 44DR, but I can tell you it doesn't really matter because we got a bunch of fuses that are showing 3 volts with a key on. That can't be good. So I want to get into my power distribution diagrams. Let's go back all the way up here, and we want to go to diagrams. I'm going to go ahead and use electrical OE. Here we go. Electrical OE, and we're looking for our power distributions, and I want to find some powers to go to that right-hand fuse block. So power and ground distribution. And this is a 1500, I think. Pretty sure it's a 1500. The VIN was decoded by AllData as a 1500, so we're going to go with that. Power distribution 1500. Let's take a look. And there's a lot of diagrams here. And I think they call it F44 UA. I thought that was, UA might be under hood. Okay, driver's right, fuse 44. You're following along as I'm thinking out loud, which may not be good for anybody, but there we go. I think this is going to be our diagram here. So here's our fuse block right. I knew that because I was looking at this DR, like DR I would assume would be the right, dash right. So, fuse block, instrument panel right. This goes to all these other things, and I'm pretty sure all these fuses are no good. So we got some B+ that should be going into this, but I don't know where. So I'm gonna hit the back button. We wanna go back to that thing. We wanna take a look at all of our instrument panel right. This is our 1500 instrument panel right. So we should have some major powers going in here. Well, let me go ahead and probe around and see what we got. Now looking over here, I gotta see if there's wires on the back side of this fuse block. I don't know if that's gonna be inside the glove box. I can't see nothing there. I don't know what's on the other side of this fuse block, but I would assume, and then we gotta be careful because that's where Brian gets into trouble a lot, that our powers are coming in on these big heavy red wires. There's like a red and green right here, a red and green, red and gray. Let's go ahead and check our juice there and see if I can't prop this meter up so we can watch it together. And I'm going on, this is the big green one. We got 2.5. That cannot be good, ladies and gentlemen. Let's check another one of these. 3 volts on this other one. There's a big fat, really big fat red and gray. 3 volts on that. So we got to find where this voltage comes from our underhood fuse block. I bet you that's probably on it with one of these big fuses, probably getting cracked in half or something. Let's see, just gonna wiggle this around. And those are some pretty darn big wires. I don't think we have anything that big heading back to the body unless it's coming through this fuse here. Wouldn't be interesting if we had a problem with this fuse just vibrating. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's a little bit of flexing there. Let me go ahead and get my multimeter and test it on either side of this. So I'm just going to check my battery voltage here. We got 12. So I was thinking we might have, what was this flashing? I saw something flashing like crazy. I must be losing my head. We got 12 there. I'm just making sure we got 12 volts at all of our outlets here. These are some big fuses going across. And we do. We got 12 volts going out. So guys, on my initial inspection, I had seen this connector hanging down here. Well, it turns out this connector is our red and green and our red and gray. If you plug this in, I bet you everything's gonna work just fine. So the big question is, how did this get disconnected? I don't know, but I bet you we go ahead and turn everything on and this thing will be back to being happy. We can do a, let's see here. There we go. We got our radios lighting up. We're all good. Look at that, rock and roll. I bet you this thing's gonna be happy. Let's see if that passenger window works. And the passenger window does go up and down. So that's interesting, guys. So apparently the battery was replaced. The customer said they drove it for a couple of days before the problem happened. So either they monkeyed around or somebody else did. So we're gonna go back in here and do our complete scan. We're gonna go all the way back. We're gonna go to our vehicle diagnostics. I'm gonna clear all the codes. Go ahead and clear the codes here. And hit OK. And we're gonna see what happens. So in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead back over here and put this thing back together. Guys, that's kind of an interesting one. I don't know what to say there. It must have been just loose and vibrated down, or maybe the customer had messed around with it. I really don't know. But some days it's easy. I'm surprised more things didn't not work, but lots of stuff was dead. So as you see, this is the panel that I struggled with. I tell you what, this thing was a bit of a bear to get undone. That's a tight fit. It's good now. And then we'll put our A-pillar back in. Originally, I'd seen the fuse markings there. I knew that, well, I shouldn't say I knew. I thought that the fuse block would be there, but I was wondering if they're having some sort of arrow pointing down and then tucking the thing around the corner, but that was not the case. So I gotta go ahead and put this A-pillar back on. All right, now we're back to the one code that I think the customer originally had said that they had, and that was a engine DTC for, let me see here, details. That is for a hood position performance. Let me just go back to module diagnostics. I'm trying to hold the camera. I keep on paying attention to the wrong stuff. I gotta look at what I'm doing here. Diagnostic trouble codes, okay. And I believe this is a hood position. Oh, no, it didn't come back. So I think it will after the vehicle drives down the road or whatever. Let's take a look and see if we refresh this, if it pops back. Because it did pop back one time. They originally had that on our first pre-scan a couple days ago. They had this hood performance code, hood switch performance. And I don't know where that hood switch is. Is it built into the latch, fancy pants, or what? It very well might be. As so many times it goes, the customer, we're getting back to the root cause of the problem here. This hood switch has a code setting, engine control model setting a code, P257 Delta for the engine hood switch performance, and that is illuminating a check engine light. Not all scan tools may show you or not whether or not to illuminate. Not all scan tools will show you whether or not the check engine will illuminate, but you can see here on GDS2 it does have the type. It is a check engine light code. I'm going to go ahead and look up to some information, P257D on all data. P257 Delta. Let's see if there's anything here. Testing and inspection. Nothing good coming up there. Let me try going to Diagnostic trouble codes, P code chart. Yep, P257 Delta. Oh, yep. There we go, we find it this way. And let's see, hood switch performance. Let's see what it talks about here. I don't know what it's going to be looking at. It applies 12, the engine control module applies 5 volts to the hood jar circuit and monitors voltage to determine the position of the hood. The hood jar switch contains a multiplex resistor, so that means it's going to be a various state resistor. Let's take a look at our engine control module data. Let's go into our data list on our ECM here and see what we can figure out. Very interesting stuff. Guys, I gotta figure out what settings to change on my camera to make these lines go away. I'm back out, I wanna go to module diagnostics, and we're gonna go in here to engine control module. I wanna take a look at the engine control module data display. And it may be under electrical and immobilizer, possibly. Let's take a look at what other data lists we have here. Fuel system, fuel trim, ignition, induction. Yeah, I think I wanna go over to the engine, electrical, and immobilizer would probably be over there. That's my guess. So I'm going to take a look, perusing down here. Looking to see if we have a hood switch, hood ajar. Don't see it there. All right, so the data we were looking for is in the engine control module. It's under the content theft alarm information. There is the hood position switch. It says closed, and we're gonna go ahead and test real quick. So here's our hood switch. We got this, we got our voltmeter here. I am not a fan of open circuit testing, but we're gonna just see what we have. Just gently probing this, because I can't get this up on the other side here. Low. 13 volts on the middle, 5 volts on the end. So just so you see here, hoping this can come out for you guys to see. This is unplugged. This is open circuit testing, not a valid test, but just something to get it quick down and dirty. We got 17 millivolts. We have 13.4, and we have 5 volts. So the 5 volt one should go back to the engine. Let me go ahead and plug this in. So I've got that plugged in. We're going to go ahead and back probe here. And on our low circuit, you can see here we have 16 millivolts. On our next one over, 3.7. And next one over, we have 3.5. So the hood switch, hood latch is definitely doing something, but it's not working the way it should be. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'm going to latch this latch right here, if I can. Sometimes it's easier said than done. There. So I latched the hood, and we have 3.4 on this one, 4.2 on this other one, and our ground is still low. So we definitely pulled our voltage up a little bit on one of the terminals and not on the other one. So one of these is staying at 3.4. I'm going to go ahead and unlatch this. And I believe this one's staying at 3.4 or 3.6 right here. So this one's not hardly changing, but we have a larger swing in this. 3.7, that went to 4.2. All right guys, the easy way to test this would have been to unplug this, and if you go to component testing, they have the component check, and you know, this component's more than likely the most common thing to fail. In between terminals A and C, we should have about 2,000 ohms, 2,080 to 2,545 ohms. And between A and C here, we can see we have 660 ohms. So this thing needs a hood latch assembly. We got to get that taken care of, and it should be all good. So guys, you see that's pretty interesting, the situation we got going on there. A hood switch causing a check engine light. My diagnostic procedure was a little bit off because I didn't understand how the system worked, but the component description, or should I say the component test, was very easy to understand, and you know, we had a definite bad result. Guys, I don't like open circuit testing, but sometimes I do that just to see if a bias voltage is there, or the pull up voltage or pull down voltage, or whatever that we're looking for. And also the component test, like I said, it was like a go, no-go test. If we fail the resistance test, there's no point of even testing further at that point. Guys, if you aren't signed up for the core or premium membership to hands-on auto training, May of 2022, we're going to be giving away this AES Wave U-Test Lead Kit. There'll be other drawings and giveaways. I got some great information up there and more case studies, more involved and more in-depth than this on the membership website. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.